How much more time do we need, Aaron?
I don't know, maybe another 10 minutes.
Look, you guys are all bitching. Oh, John's not here. How are we gonna fill this? Fucking assholes.
Welcome to episode 45 of Beers in the Lot. This is an interesting one, y'all. We definitely had fun recording this one. We talked about the playoffs, talked about Carey Price and the Islanders in Tampa. We talked about our beer league a little bit. And then we got into a discussion. So keep this thought in the back of your head while you're listening to the first part. Can you play better and still lose the game? Think about it. But don't think too hard. We did plenty of that later. Let's get to beers.
Hey, Aaron, what are you drinking?
Tonight I've got a Blue Moon Honey Days. Saw these in the store. Thought they looked good. Picked some up. It's not bad. What you got, John?
I got it from our buddies at Flying Dog, a pool hopping deck beer. So I believe now it's like the first official day of summer, even though it's been going on since, late May for all of us in the Mid-Atlantic region pretty much. So, yeah, it's a nice summer beer.
Big meteorologist over there.
Yeah, big meteorologist. Yeah.
The sun did something or whatever. So now it's like another season. I don't know.
What are you drinking tonight, Eric?
So it is officially summertime, and since we're supposed to be more active during summertime, supposedly, Flying Dog has this Zen Blaster Active Ale, light ale,
Active.
90 calories, 1.5 grams of carbs if you're counting your carbs. If you're one of those people. So does
that beat the other one? The other big,
I don't know.
Brooks Koepka reps? Curious. I don't want to give him a free ad, but I like Brooks, so
yeah, I don't know. It's not so bad, considering it doesn't have any of the good stuff in it. But yeah, good on Flying Dog. What about you, Danny?
So I didn't realize 3 out of 4 of us was going to go with a Flying Dog tonight. I looked in my fridge and I didn't want to go with another Treehouse. And I was looking at the beers that I had in there, and I had already had a lot of them on the pod. And I don't think I had this one from last summer. It's the Orange Crush. It was just chilling out in the back of the fridge. And
I was going to say, did you find it was
still good?
Yeah, it's good.
No, it's still good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So good summer beer.
Yeah.
All right. So now what are we talking about?
Well, all right. NHL. So if you didn't notice, Tampa is now 3-2 on the Isles. Pretty forgetful series overall, right? Am I the only one that thinks that?
Pretty forgetful semis. I mean,
I didn't watch the game last night, so I went down a YouTube rabbit hole. I didn't watch any hockey. That's how interesting the games are.
Well, on Saturday they played. On Saturday, the Isles and Tampa played. I watched Casino, the first like 3/4 of Casino, and then it just clicked. I'm like, oh yeah, they're like should be in the second period now, and I turned the game on. I turned the game on. So like that series is just so off my radar. It's not that I don't like Tampa.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see that lame trap nonsense that.
Well, even the Habs and Vegas series, like that one's maybe a little bit more interesting, but I mean, Sunday night they were played, and one of the guys was trying to set up thinking he was going to set up a projector in the parking lot after the games, and I don't know if they just lost interest or what, but that didn't happen. And somebody had the game on their phone, and like one person was paying attention, everybody else was like, "What's the score?" Oh, okay, sure. Like nobody was actually like watching.
That probably would have been a good one to watch though, because they won that OT, didn't they?
Well, yeah. It would have been if you'd known it was going to be good. Then yeah, but
those games overall though have been more entertaining, at least in general. But the Tampa Islanders series, like, thank God Tampa kind of saved. I've been saying this. They saved youth hockey last night and put up an 8 spot against the Islanders.
Oh.
Like, thank God. There's so many youth hockey coaches. They're just gonna try and be Barry Trotz.
We were talking about it last night. The
Huh.
game. You're like, oh yeah, Tampa's doing well, and I didn't even have the game on. I turned it on in the second. And was like, it's 3-0 already. Nope,
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Game's over.
Eric just has nothing to say. Like, Eric is just sitting there, like,
He's
be
shaking
reading a
his
book.
head.
I haven't watched a game since Friday, and the only reason why I watched Friday night is because I went out with some people to a local wings and beer bar.
You were there for 4 hours, got 1 beer.
and
Yeah. They take forever.
and that's why I didn't want to say who it was. And
I'll say it.
and we were sitting there, we were talking, and one of the dudes was like, "Oh, the game's coming on, or they're playing now, or whatever." And he had the manager turn on this big screen or whatever, and we watched it. And okay, cool. Got to watch the game at a bar after like over a year, but
Right.
but I didn't. I mean, and Montreal, I guess, won in overtime, right? That was Josh Anderson scored twice, and one was
Yeah,
in the
Fleury
OT
gave
or
him
whatever.
Fleury gave him 1, and then the
Yeah.
second
Fleury gave the
the second one was
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
like I think it was Suzuki and Anderson made a really nice play. In
Yeah,
overtime to
whatever it
win it
was.
on
I
a
don't
2-on-1.
know.
So good for them. Flower gave that. I mean, sheesh. That's like, I mean, funny. We talked about it like
Brutal.
weeks prior. Like, if your goalie stay in the damn net, don't move. Like, stop the puck. Don't go behind the net.
But I haven't watched any of the games since then, really. I mean, so whatever. What is it?
Yeah.
Tied in the other one, and
Hey, can we just
3-2 in the
Or
one
something.
or something or
can we
other.
just start the off season? Just start it
Yeah.
now. Let's get the Kraken draft going. Let's go.
I mean, there's only really probably one team of interest at this point, and it's only interesting to John because
He has money on it.
he could probably
some
win some
coin.
money.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
some coin
Yeah.
riding on this. But I mean, I'm a hockey nut, so I'd watch it. I'd watch it anyway. But I remember. I think the least interesting Stanley Cup final to me, like in recent memory, that it was the Devils and the Kings the year they went, and I just said I was like, oh yeah, Kings are gonna just murder those guys, and they did. But I was like, talk about the Devils like going like what a like. Ugh, I had no taste for that team. I never have. I never have. I never will.
Yeah.
Like, I just ugh. Devils. Like, I can't get it out of my head that Wayne Gretzky called them Mickey Mouse franchise, and like since then it's just like it's just still stuck in my head. Like, so
we're in what, week 3 of our season, right? Of our beer league season.
Yep.
Shaping up to be pretty interesting.
Is it though?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's interesting.
It's-
One of the teams
fun.
that I think is like most powerful on paper against I think my team is the weakest on paper. We beat them last night or on Sunday night, and I think it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, but it's weird.
it's not that interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because like we're playing in the
Beer
summer.
league, so it's not interesting.
We're playing in the summertime, so like guys are kind of in and out.
Right, right.
Like this week it was really weird because like a bunch of people were out, and I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just
we've had issues with goalies
whatever.
still,
Hot.
which
It's
is
hot.
Yeah, whatever.
It's
We're
hot
still
in our
we're
league.
still getting dressed and undressed outside, and it's like
Yeah.
100 degrees.
It's ridiculous.
Over it.
Way over it. Only place that I'm required mandated to wear a mask is now the rink. Kind of weird being fully
Yeah.
vaccinated, and the hockey rink is the only place I have to wear a mask.
I put on my under stuff and then just walked in with my bag. I was like, I'm not fucking sitting out in 100-degree heat.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
But we're playing hockey. That's all that
We're
matters,
playing
I guess.
hockey.
We're playing. We're hanging out with our bros. Goalies still can't stop the puck. Yeah.
Brigsby's close enough. He could do like the kid getting dressed at
Oh
home
man,
and
it's
like
too
drive
hot.
over.
That's too hot.
Hey, you start up your car,
Ugh.
put the AC on.
They have
hot.
AC in the Start the car up, then go back inside and get dressed.
No.
Go-
No, man. No. Just
Have your mom
look,
drive you over to the rink.
I just got done saying I went and hung out at a bar and watched hockey on Friday night. Like, I could go there. I can't go in the locker room at the rink. Like, come on, man. Over it.
Over it. Hashtag it. Over it.
Well, I mean, July 1st, especially, like, the world essentially will reopen. Like, California's open, New York's open,
Canada
opening. Officially opens for business, and they also passed sports
Maryland's
betting
opening.
today, so that'll be interesting to see how that works too. Maryland passed sports betting, but I think we gotta wait a little bit still for that to take effect. West Virginia, it's legal, so I can cross state lines, play some bets if I really want to, instead of taking your clown's money all day. Yeah.
Vegas still has to win. Otherwise, we're taking you clown.
I have
money.
another year. Sir. I said 2 years.
Oh, that's right. You said it in 2 years. Yeah.
I think if Montreal wins,
2-year window.
he owes us like $40.
How?
Because it's Montreal.
You're gonna.
Like, who could have predicted that
stipulations
Montreal
after the
might
fact?
stop Vegas's run?
Well, actually, all right. I said this Sunday night, and I've been kind of workshopping this in my head too. And while we're on the topic of Montreal and ifs and whatever, I said this, and I do legitimately believe it. If big asterisk if Montreal pulls out a Stanley Cup victory, I don't want to see any Montreal Canadiens fan, period, zero, nilch, nada, say that Jacques Plante or Ken Dryden is a better goaltender than Carey Price for a few reasons. One, parity in the league. That's a given. The Montreal Canadiens bought Guy Lafleur's junior league, so he would play on the Montreal Canadiens. And if you look at Jacques Plante's roster and Ken Dryden's roster, there are no less than 5 Hall of Famers on each of those Stanley Cup winning teams. In multiple generations, they have had that. They've been very blessed as a franchise to have that strong of talent, that strong of a program where they were able to keep it going for all those years. Patrick Waugh, even same thing. He had Hall of Fame talent around him, played at a time in the league where parity was getting there, but it wasn't there. And now, look at Carey Price. I mean, who really on that team besides Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, or really, like, I wouldn't even say household names. Cole Caulfield, he's getting there. Suzuki, probably in Canada, yes. But, like, who else on that team can you really even, like, go, oh, yeah, that guy is a potential borderline, not even Hall of Famer, like, just say all-star, like, or even honorable mention all-star.
Corey Perry, honorable mention for name recognition alone. Maybe not for, like, ability or skill or whatever, but he's a factor.
Not positive name recognition.
Not positive, though.
Yeah, non-positive. Yeah, non-positive name recognition.
All right, here's where I'm going to argue with you on this, and it's not that that certain players are better than others from different eras. It's that the same reasons that you gave for one being better than others in different eras because the eras were different is the reason why you can't even really have this conversation. The game has changed so much since those guys that you're talking about are like 4, 5, 6 generations back in players and playing styles. So if you're trying to compare them and then normalize it with, whatever, because we didn't see those guys play, right? Because we weren't alive then. So with whatever anecdotal sort of argument you want to make about, like, oh, these guys were and this guy wasn't, or vice versa, like, you can't have that conversation. You can't normalize it. Carey Price is probably of this current generation, right? Which is probably succeeding, the Wah Brodeur generation, I think. Like
Yeah, you could throw Belfour and Hasek in there too.
he's probably the best goalie of this current generation. He's sort of at the end of his um career path, right? So he's been around a few years now. He came in like 2010, 2011. So he's been around for like 10 years now. He's starting to get there, right? So he's probably the best of this current generation. But I don't think there's any way you can normalize back like, oh, him being the best in this generation versus, you know, Kenny Dryden, Jacques Plante, and those types, Johnny Bauer, like all these types.
Yeah,
Like
there's
I don't
a
think you
ton of
could.
guys from that era you could throw in there too. I'm just going Habs guys.
Like, I'd even possibly make a statement that sure, Plant surely could not play in today's game at the same level they did. And I'd say the same thing about Carey Price in that era. I don't think that if you gave Carey Price even his current gear playing in that era, it was a different game. I mean, goalies had to be a whole lot different in that era. Like, you had guys running goalies. Like, Carey Price would not have had the same protections in that era as he does in
Right.
this day and age, which
Rules
I think is a big difference.
Yeah,
The rules are just totally different.
rules,
the
equipment,
style of the
equipment,
game, how it's played, all that stuff
gear.
is different,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think you're right. It's
I'm
apples to oranges.
yeah.
yeah, I'm also more kind of going like if you take those Habs teams from back then and you stack them up parity wise, just go off of parity, it is insanely harder for Carey Price to win a Stanley Cup in this day and age. Not just competition, but his roster construction.
Mhm.
So I get all
I was just
the,
gonna say,
like
yeah.
I still say like you can't even make that argument because the games like it's different NHLs. It's different hockey. Like it's not even the same. So like yeah, those players were all great players. I mean, the friggin' Hall of Fame has a mock-up of the Canadiens locker room in it. I mean, they didn't just
for a
like
reason.
they didn't just pick
Yeah,
a team
for a
out of a
reason.
hat and do that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because they've had so many great players go through the organization. But there was a time where they were the team, right? And so they had a lot of good players back then, and I get that, but you know, it was a different game too. It's a way different game. Different rules, played a completely different way. It's not the same. So I think I don't even think it's like the conversation is worth having because you're not gonna get like people are just gonna fall on the hey, the greats are always the greats, and that's the way it is. They were always the best, they're always gonna be the best. And then the modern players, are here. They're fun to watch, but they're never gonna be as good as those legends. And then the other side of it's gonna be, well, hey, Carey Price plays in an NHL with 31, about to be 32 teams. The competition in this Stanley Cup playoffs probably was pretty strong, and that team, like by today's standards, that team doesn't have a lot of name players, like you said. And he's kind of carrying them, which they had to have him do to get this far. But I don't think like Aaron said, it's apples and oranges. Like I don't think that's even a conversation you can get anywhere with it, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, but I also kind of you see so much nonsense, and I'm like, dude, like you can't like we've had the conversation about Gordie Howe and some of those guys. Like, you can't measure today's game, and even in like 5 years, when there's a kid that's faster and more skilled than like Nate Dogg and McDavid, like we won't even be
Yeah.
able to compare those kids to McKinnon and
Yeah.
McDavid when they entered the league because the speed overall is going to
Yeah.
be at a higher average. It already is from 5 years ago. In 5 years, you know,
Yeah.
beyond that, like this everything is increasing constantly. I mean,
Yeah, and to your point though, yes, if the Montreal Canadiens win the cup this year, then yeah, Montreal Canadian fans should shut the fuck up and just enjoy their victory or whatever, and
man, you're
say
like
Carey
heated
Price is
about
good.
it.
No, because they already talk. They've already talked enough.
I'll go. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to when was it? Like the beginning of May, when the team wasn't doing so well and Price wasn't doing well. It turns out that he had injury stuff going on and whatever. But like, there were people in Montreal that were calling for them to move Price somehow, some way, and to fire Bergevin.
They did get rid of Julian though. That was the first sign that stuff was like going sideways. Bergevin had that
how
in
many?
the
What's that?
in
The
his-
third time they fired him. How many times did they fired him, Claude? How many times did they fired him?
Well, you got to remember the cycle's only complete when they bring back Michel Therrien, and then once he's there, then that cycle's complete. Then they'll can him, bring Julian back, bring Michel Therrien back. Like they got to get the cycle going. So,
Canadian markets, man, there's just so much pressure on their teams. It's like I can't imagine being a player there. I mean, I can't imagine being a player in the NHL at all. But I mean, I have to think that playing in a Canadian market, like for the Habs or for the Leafs, it's got to suck in a lot of ways to have that much spotlight on you all the time, and
it's
just
probably the
constant
same as being
demand
like a
for
New
production.
York, like a New York Yankee, or a Green Bay Packer, Dallas Cowboy, like those. Like those organizations, like you get, and it's unfortunately, if you're in a Canadian market playing in the NHL, especially Toronto or Montreal, to like Yankees, Packers, Cowboys, I think like media people, fans aren't just scrutinizing you in your own market. It's internationally, nationally, like your brand, because it is a brand, like you're getting heat. When you're doing well, I'm sure it's great. Like, you probably don't have to pay for beers at any bar or anything. It's probably awesome.
I kind of wish I had some perspective on like the local fan bases or whatever for, I don't know, for like Lionel Messi or Ronaldo or some. Like, I bet you that it's probably similar in European football. Like specific players, specific stars and teams that they're not producing. Oof.
Yeah, then they get it double during the Euro or the World Cup too.
Right.
So
I bet you it's bad.
you know what the problem is? I came to this conclusion.
I think Montreal's going to win.
In the Colorado series, after game 3 or 4, it almost looked like Colorado just kind of stopped believing. Like they just were playing, but it just like that extra little belief / gear just wasn't there. I almost feel tonight, because Montreal got the first one, Vegas is that's creeping in their mind now. It wasn't there when they lost the other game. It wasn't there in the Leonard game. But like they got the first goal, like you could tell, like it's almost like, man, like we can't beat these fucks. And it's like little plays. It's not like, I wouldn't say they're getting completely outworked and it's all like stupid errors. It's like little fractions. They need to,
It's
steal
all it's all the little plays throughout the game.
It's little, just
It's
little
flurry
tiny
behind the net.
details.
People, well, also like,
Oh no,
if
subtract
all your
that.
guys,
That's a
Subtract that
little
out.
play.
That hurts.
Wow.
Yes, yeah, because that hurts because that's a win. Like,
Well, and
that's a win.
But
so
that
yeah,
should
I
have
get
been
it,
that should have been an
That was a
automatic
routine
play,
thing.
Yeah.
right? That's an automatic play.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a little mistake, but it's
That's a
turned
mental
into a big
error.
one.
well, they're like the Islanders, right? They
jump on those mistakes, and then
exactly,
yeah.
So here's something we can talk about. This is an argument I've had before with somebody. Do you think that you can play better and lose the game? Is it possible to play a better game and
absolutely.
lose the game?
Absolutely.
Penguins.
Give
They
me
lost
a
the whole series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but give me a for instance. So what caused them? Like, if you know a specific game, even better.
I don't know a specific
You-
game.
so,
I like,
you know,
I like to
alright,
black
so
it
what
out.
Make something up.
What it comes down to is that goals are essentially luck events, right? It takes skill to generate the chances to score goals, but the puck going in the net or not going in the net is not a certain thing. No matter
No.
how many times you shoot, no matter how many 50 goal scorers you have on your team and all that kind of stuff, there's all these other things that go on. You know, you run into a Carey Price who is stopping 95% of the shots on the penalty kill where you should be, you know, scoring all kinds of goals against them. You know, all these things happen all the time, and then teams that definitely are playing better, you know, if you look at like them out shooting an opponent or you know, scoring more on the power play and winning that differential, whatever numbers you want to look at to say that a team is playing well, they could be winning all those things and still lose games because, you know, their goalie flubs a puck behind the net and it pops out in front and they lose an OT because it's a sudden death situation, right?
So
If that's the third period and there's time left, it's not that big of a deal, right? Like it's different in the playoffs, right? Like it's just everything's magnified and it doesn't matter how well you're playing. You have to win the little battles and you have to like capitalize on the other team's mistakes when they come up. If you don't and you lose that battle, then you're going to lose, right?
So here's my argument about playing better and still losing the game. If you have a game where your team possesses the puck 99.9% of the time, every pass is 100%, like you never have an intercepted pass, you never have a turnover, 100 shots in 60 minutes, but none of them go in. And then the other team, and even if the other team never even touches the puck, you know, you pass it back or something like that, your goalie misses the pass back and it goes in the net. The other team never even touched the puck the whole game. Did you play better?
Yeah,
because your goalie
you literally just made
lost
the
you
argument.
the game.
Yeah, but you
But
literally
your
just
goalie lost you the game with a bigger mistake.
you literally
outpaced the
No.
entire body of what you just
but
did.
it's
You still played
exactly
better.
it's a single event. You just made the argument.
Yes,
You literally just
Yeah,
made it.
so-
but that
so think about it.
mistake
Aaron,
completely
It's a
erases
single event.
all
It's a
the
single
other
event.
things you did.
It's a single
It's a
event
single event.
in a
So if you're
60-minute
saying-
game. You just made the argument.
and so
Yeah.
so what's
but
that? Yeah, Aaron. So what's that percentage? 59-53. You outplay the team in 7 seconds. You make a mental error that costs you the game.
that cost you
so
the
didn't
game?
outplay them the whole.
What's the
so you
object
didn't
of the
outplay
game?
'em.
What's the object of the game? To win, right?
Score more goals than the
If
other
you
team
make
to
a
win.
mistake that causes you to lose
That's
the game, you didn't play better. That's my argument.
No.
Yeah.
No.
No,
If
I
you
would
possess
agree.
the
No,
puck
because
95%
you
of the
actually-
time,
you
you're
made-
outplaying them.
You made the exact same argument to prove your point that actually proves the point that you're arguing
Does it?
against. Yeah.
Does it though?
Yeah.
Exception.
It's
If you
math.
make
Yeah,
a
it's
mistake
simple math.
so big that causes you to lose the game, did you play better?
If there are
How
if-
could you possibly
if
have played
there
better
are-
if you made a
alright.
mistake big enough to lose?
if there are 100 events in the game and only one event doesn't go your way,
No, it's not going your way. It's you made a mistake big enough
okay,
to cost
fine,
you the game.
fine. One event was bad and 99 were good. You played better.
How bad was it though? It was bad enough to
It wasn't that
completely
bad.
erase every. Yes, it was.
No.
You
No.
lost the game.
No, and
How
this
is
is
it not that bad?
and this is why bad teams stay bad and good teams continue to get better. It's because of that mindset. It's the reason why a team will lose a series that they should win. It's because of that mindset. And it's wrong.
Yes, sure.
And it's
You
wrong.
shouldn't. You can't
And it's
dwell on
wrong.
mistakes.
And it's wrong.
But I tell you what,
Mathematically it's wrong.
I disagree. The object of the game is to win. So if you do something that causes you to lose, or your inaction causes you to lose,
But you still
then
play
you've
better.
made you. I disagree. You lost the game.
But you're wrong.
What if that happens
You're-
4 times in a 7-game series?
You're objectively wrong.
I disagree. I respectfully disagree. If you lose the game, you didn't play better because the object of the game is to win, which means
Not
you
how it
played
works.
so bad that you lost.
It's not how
It doesn't
works.
matter how if you played brilliantly for 99% of the game. If you make one mistake that costs you the game, that mistake was bigger than the good things that you did for the rest of the game. And I don't see how you can prove me wrong on that. Math or whatever.
Please never, ever,
If you
ever
lose
be
the
on a
game
team with me ever
if
again.
you lose the game, then you've lost.
That mindset is a loser's mindset. Like
Is
never,
it?
ever,
No.
never, ever play on a team with me again. That is
Come
a
on,
terrible
Aaron,
way to
Aaron,
look at it. It's
time
a
out,
terrible
time
way
out,
to look at
Time
it.
out, Aaron. Seriously. All right. Anytime when we've played on a team together, what is the one thing I always say when we're down a goal or 2 goals or 3 goals? You're
one shot away.
Or
you're 2 shots
we're
away.
1 shot away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guess what?
I agree completely.
Sometimes at the end of the night, Danny and I had it the other night. We shot the living daylights and just couldn't put the puck in the right spot. We literally did everything correct.
Did you know you didn't put the puck in the right spot? You didn't do that correct.
Yeah, but a shot is a shot.
Yeah.
Over a certain amount of times, like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
And we ended up
but it didn't for
losing.
You ended up losing.
So yeah, like that. But that doesn't mean we did anything wrong, Aaron.
You
can say all the stuff you want about you didn't do it. Yeah, you didn't toe drag good enough 19 times from the blue line all the way into the goal either.
Absolutely.
So like, come on, like
the toe drag was good enough. He didn't shoot right.
I didn't shoot right. Yeah.
So I mean,
I
that's
screwed
the thing.
up.
Like you
just made my point.
I'm with
you
Eric
just said that I didn't
I'm
do
glad
it right.
We're not on a team ever again.
All right, fine, whatever. You guys know me.
This is such a bad take. This is such a bad take. This is so bad.
I can't follow you on this journey, Aaron. I can't follow you.
I don't need anybody to follow me.
You're on your own journey.
Like
if a team is outplaying somebody 99% of the time and they pass the puck into the net, yes, they lost the game, but they still played a better game.
Yeah. How bad is that mistake, though?
It doesn't matter how bad the mistake is.
It cost you the game.
It doesn't matter. They still played a better game.
You can't start, Aaron. You can't start quantifying
up until that
mistakes
point
in a
when
game
they played the
because
worst
then you're looking at it
way
in
they
a vacuum.
could. All right, hang on. I want to say something. Real quick. You guys know me.
The congressman from West Virginia
have played with me on teams with me, and you know how I am on the bench. You know that I am the positive guy who's thinking we can win the game up until the last fucking second.
Apparently you weren't.
You absolutely know this.
Yeah.
I'm making an argument that if you look at apparently I was just lying the whole time, right?
Yeah, apparently you were.
I've just been lying my whole life. My positivity is
he's throwing this throwing this false positivity out to his teammates.
You actually said it early on, Eric. You said like, well, you have a great offense. It comes up against a hot goaltender and the puck doesn't go in. Those goaltenders are on the other team. I mean, doesn't that mean that team is playing well? If that goaltender's a hot goaltender, they're part of the team that's beating this offense.
If they're allowing their goalie to see 50 shots, is that good? No.
Doesn't matter if they're staying out.
No.
Does it matter?
It's not good. Trust me. It's not
what
good.
matter? I understand that means that the defense is playing poorly, but is the goaltender not playing well enough to make up for the shortcoming?
Again, it's a math problem.
Yes, it is.
If you have
GAA is part of it.
If you have more good events in your favor, you're playing well. Sometimes the bad event happens at a really, really bad time. And out of context, that's going to look really, really bad. But if you look in the context of how you played the whole game, you'll understand that, hey, you know what? We played really well, but this one thing happened and we lost. And now we got to move on. That's how it works.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you move on.
That's how it works.
Yes,
I could kind of see
I
can kind of see where you're coming from, maybe on the goalie side, where you could say maybe the goaltender is playing better, but as a team, they would not be playing better. Because the goalie, let's say the goalie has 90 shots.
Goalie's on the team.
And he misses like 1 and loses, right?
The goalie's part of the team. Is he not?
He is, but
the problem
kind of
is,
like Eric says, they shouldn't be seeing 90 shots a game.
Right.
No, they shouldn't. That means there's a defensive problem that the goalie is making up for.
That means your team is playing poorly and your goalie is playing well and keeping you in it.
Also, to that point, we were talking about possession. The other team had possession more.
Right, because they shot the puck more.
Which means that the team is outplaying them. The other team can't get the puck. Let's say the other team has possession and they give 90 shots. Well, the team has the puck more, which would mean that your team is playing a better game.
Yeah, but if you're playing, if you have possession the entire game, the other team never touches the puck except for bouncing off the goalie, and none of them are going in, well, the goalie's outplaying your offense.
I don't
prove me wrong.
Which team?
No, you played well.
Which team is their like strategy? All right, we're just gonna let our goalie take 90 shots.
The Montreal Canadiens. So we don't have time for the whole thing. Just like in the lot, when you have a few and start a debate, you go in circles a lot. So we're gonna skip to the end.
One eternity later.
Same thing in Washington. Same thing in any of the series, really.
What was it?
Any series.
The first 3 games went to overtime in the Washington-Boston series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if one of those goes the other way, I mean, who knows what happens after that, right? Like,
say Washington gets another chance.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, they get at least another game out of it, and then you don't know what happens.
Yep.
And that's why coaches don't change their game plan in the middle of a 7. I mean, they do sometimes, but you can't really. You can't change too much. Because you have to keep playing the same way because you have to have faith in your system.
Yeah, you can't react.
You hear that all the time. You hear that from players all the time. We believe in our system. We think it's going to win.
Yeah.
And in a 9-game series, it might. But in a 7 games, sometimes it doesn't.
I fucking said that like 40 minutes ago.
Yeah. And I said I'm not talking about a 7-game series. I'm talking about 1 game. So whatever.
What about a 6-game series?
Sure. It's still more than 1 game.
What about a 5-game series?
More than 1 game.
Like they did in the 60s or 70s.
Or what they do in the American League in the first round.
Or what they did in the 80s, where it's like the first round was just single elimination. And then they only went to 7-game series after the first round.
They used to do like
bullshit. That's completely bullshit.
They used to do like the NBA, where it was like the first 2 rounds were 5 games, and then conference and final was 7.
Yeah,
like
single elimination. Like that's completely bullshit.
Well,
it's just bullshit.
It's just a different. It's just a different way to do it. Like if it's all single elimination, cool, right? Because like,
I mean, you don't have time sometimes. Yeah.
Right. Like
I don't want to play 7 games at Johnstown.
There was a time.
Could you fucking imagine?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't know if you guys were playing, but Skate Frederick used to do the adult league playoff
series,
3-game series.
Really?
I don't know if you remember that.
Remember that? It was like 3-game series.
That sounds kind of cool, though.
It was awesome.
It was actually kind of cool, yeah. But fuck.
I never
at our
experienced
level,
that.
It doesn't matter.
No, what the fuck, man?
3-game series at our level that's bullshit too.
What the fuck?
It could be a 7-game series. It doesn't fucking matter. Like that's dumb.
But like I kind of like NCAA tournament because it's a single game, you know.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of fun because it's bullshit, and everybody knows that it's
anything can happen, right? And it does.
Right.
Like this fucking crazy shit happens all the time, and it's
fucking
like,
Cinderella stories.
Yeah,
like, you go on a 5-game winning streak and win the fucking championship. Like, what the hell?
You only have to win 5 games.
You just need to win 5 games and you're in.
Yeah, man.
It's not like fucking NHL where you have to win 16.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
Jesus. Can you imagine? Like,
that's longer than our season now.
It's
like our whole season,
and that's only the wins.
That's only right.
That's if you sweep every series.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. Would you guys be interested in playing like let's say like 4 seasons worth of hockey. So what do we have, like 12 games a season typically?
Yeah.
No.
So would you
I know
want to
where you're
play
going with this.
48 games
Not with the same
with the
guys.
same team
Absolutely not.
and then play like a
Absolutely not.
whole playoffs?
No. Absolutely not.
No.
Our Johnstown team, I would play a full 48
Yes.
game season
Whoa,
with those
yeah.
guys.
I mean,
If it's a hand-picked team and you like everybody on the team, that's different. But at the same time,
I do like kind of the random aspect. It's fun.
But
it is
think
fun.
about it. So that's the roster. Like you're talking about the roster,
Yeah.
right?
the
But
roster.
Yeah, I'm
why-
just talking about the roster.
But
Underline.
why do you want to hang out with the roster, right?
It's not necessarily on ice, yeah.
because it's those 2 nights. It's those 2 nights and those 3 days, right? And that's it. And most of the time,
Yeah, we burn the candle very hard.
right? But would you want to play so many games with that roster?
No.
Maybe not
Yeah, I like the
necessarily.
random
Maybe
aspect.
not.
Well,
Maybe
yeah,
not.
yeah. It
Like,
depends on the
maybe
team.
not.
It depends on
Maybe
the
not.
team, really. Yeah.
Maybe not. I think a lot of that is just like it's that weekend and
Yeah.
everything that goes on around it and all the stuff.
Everyone gets
and
jazzed up.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think in
You
our
know.
league though, like we know the guys who we play with, and there's probably 2 guys maybe on your team that you typically wouldn't want to play with.
There's always a
But
couple.
But everybody else is cool, right?
That sounds
So
low.
you get to hang out with everybody. You get to
sounds
hang out with
low.
everybody afterwards in the
thinking
in the
higher.
lot,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
So like,
Let's-
let's say you're on like a not desirable team, right? You still get to hang out with everybody in the lot.
Right.
What do we say? We go into the locker room and it's a morgue. And
Yes.
we just can't wait to get
Yeah.
undressed and get out to the lot. That's happened numerous times. But no, I want to go back to the 82 games with your teammates though, because for us it's different. Like we're not professional. We're not getting paid for this. The guys who are doing this in the NHL, they're getting paid. So that doesn't really these are their coworkers. They turn
Right.
into their buddies and their friends and all that. But
right.
for us, like this is our
No,
recreation.
it's not always
So-
friendly.
Well, no, it's not.
That's the whole point.
But
That's
that's
the
the
whole
It's
point.
not always
They're
friendly.
getting paid to do it, so it doesn't matter if it's friendly. It's like this is their job. For us, this is our recreation. So we go in. We don't want to be with people that we don't necessarily want to hang out with.
Right. I mean, if I was
Especially
getting
not
paid
for that kind of a commitment.
yeah, I mean, if I was getting paid $7 million a year to fucking hang out with somebody I didn't want to hang out with, sure, I'd fucking do it. I
Yeah,
don't
I
care.
have no problem.
I don't give a fuck. Just make sure you're not in the shower with me at the same time, asshole.
Yeah.
But again, like going back to like the Johnstown roster, like, yeah, the first inclination is like, yeah, I would play with that team in a 40, 80 game season,
Right,
whatever
right.
it is, and playoffs and all that stuff. But I think that decision or that opinion is clouded by the fact of like what that weekend is. And
Yeah,
when you're
right.
hanging out with that group of
Yeah.
guys,
Because
it's not the grind of that long of a
No.
season,
Right.
right? It's a whirlwind 2 nights and 2.5
Right.
days.
right, because every day won't be like that. It couldn't be like
Right.
that for the health of all of us.
Right.
Like, it could not be like
Well,
that.
Well, there's been some guys who have came. There's been some guys who've come to the tournament. We like them, but not in that setting.
Yes,
Right?
that is correct.
Right,
That
yeah,
is
yeah.
true.
So like, there's
Valid.
some guys who are like, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll chop it up with them. Like, we'll hang out with them, play a couple games with them. But like that setting, there's a certain type of person that you want,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and sometimes it just doesn't fit. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, you need a little grit.
But then extend that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Instead of 4
Right.
games or 5 games, extend it to 20 games, extend it to 40
Yeah,
games.
yeah,
Would it work? Probably not, right? Like
yeah. Because there's leagues out in Leesburg where you're playing 82 games or 60 games or
Yeah,
something
like
like
20.
that.
Well,
Like,
I think Laurel does like a 24 or 30 game season. So like you play one, like it starts in October and ends in
Yeah.
like March. So you play
Yeah.
like 30,
Yeah.
30 weeks of the same guys. There's probably a reason why a lot of individuals sign up. It's probably a lot of the same guys that play over and over and over
Yeah.
because they're like, I can deal with this guy for 30 weeks out of the year. That's about it. Like
Now there
versus us.
now the league I play in Hagerstown, there's like 6 or 7 guys I play with every season.
Hmm.
And a
But
lot of
that's different,
times
though. If you didn't like any of
It
them, you'd be
is,
like, I
it
don't
is.
want to be on that team.
It
I'm not
is.
going to.
Well,
it is.
like,
There's
Because
like
whenever
3
the season re-ups. yeah.
right. There's like 3 of them that like I played with since like high school, after high school.
Oh, well,
but,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I can play with you
They're-
guys for an
they're
80
friends.
80 game
Yeah, they're
season.
childhood
Like,
friends.
it's
Right,
different.
exactly.
Well, we've been playing together for like
Yeah.
I've been
10
playing with you,
years.
Eric, for almost 20 years.
20 years,
In September's
yeah.
it'll be 20
Yeah.
years. 20 years. And it'll
That's
be like
insane.
18 for Daniel and like 17 for John in like September-ish or something like that.
But see, even think about it, because like we don't play on the same team all the time. We do like the tournaments and stuff together. But imagine like, like you're not having a good season. It's like game 63, so you're not even all the way through, and it's like Danny's just gonna fucking skate up the ice again and whatever, and you're like just having a bad day, and you're like, man, I am sick of
John's
this
gonna try
shit.
a backhand
Like
again.
every time. And Aaron's on the bench. Yeah, and Aaron's on the bench talking about, well, we all playing him the whole time, but you know, I make that one mistake every time and we end up losing.
Oh,
Like,
that one
you know,
time.
you want to
one mistake.
Yeah,
Johnny didn't score on the backhand.
Yeah, you know, you want to club him over the head.
What a whirlwind. I hope y'all had as much fun listening as we did arguing with each other for literally an hour and a half. And you know what? We want to know what you think. Come join us on Discord and put your input in. Or tweet us and let us know. We're at Beers in the Lot on the social medias and beersinthelot.com/Discord to get in on the conversation there. Seriously, somebody come back me up. But either way, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.